Okay, are you ready for another free plugin? So today we're going to talk about a plugin called RoughRider by Audio Damage. It's very popular, so let's talk about it. So RoughRider by Audio Damage. Completely free to download, by the way, no catch. It's always been free to download and it probably always will be. But what is it? What is RoughRider? Well, RoughRider is a compressor. And it is a compressor with a byte. Just thought that was pretty interesting to say, but I can also explain why I say that, and I will do so in a minute. First, let me say that RoughRider has actually been around for quite some time now. So quite a few years ago they released their first version of RoughRider and it looked like this. Then some years later they presented us with version 2, which looks like this. Still have this on my computer, and by the way, you can still download this version. But recently, so a few weeks ago or maybe a few months ago, they released a third version of RoughRider, and that looks like this. I think it's a very good looking plugin. Don't think I'm gonna buy it a drink or anything, but it still looks pretty good. Now let's take a look at the UI. Now the first thing to notice is that it is resizable, which I really like, even though I think that nowadays every new plugin should be resizable. Don't you think so? But anyways, good to see that this one is. Okay, let's start on the left here. This is the input level or input gain. By the way, one little thing that I don't like about this plugin, and it's not just this plugin, but it's many other plugins nowadays, is that, you know, I can use my mouse to set the levels of any parameter. So if I move my mouse to the right or left or up or down, I can set the levels. If I double click, it will return to the default settings. But there doesn't seem to be any way for me to use my numeric keyboards to set the levels. You know, and that can be very useful if you want to set an exact level. So let's say, for example, I want to set the level of the input gain to 3.5 dB. Well, I can use my mouse, 3.4, okay, then it jumps from 3.4 to 3.6, and anyway, it's a bit awkward this way. You know, and it's much more user-friendly if they would allow you to use the numeric keys to set the levels. Not a deal breaker, but it is a little bit annoying. Now, just below the input level, there is an on-off switch for the full bandwidth function. As I mentioned, this compressor is a compressor with a byte, which means that it kind of colors the sound a little bit. There is some filtering going on, and that gives the sound a little bit more warmth, which is actually the trademark for this plugin. New to version 3, relative to version 2 and to version 1 as well, of course, is that now you can switch off that filtering. You know, so if you engage this knob, you're now switching off that filtering, and that makes for a much cleaner sound. So I think that that is a very welcome addition to this plugin. So next to that we have some sidechaining options, which is also new to this version. So first of all, there is a high pass filter, so you can determine whether the entire spectrum of sound will trigger the plugin or just anything above a certain frequency. You know, so very useful. And then there is, of course, internal sidechaining, and if you engage this button, you will switch to external sidechaining. All right. Now then we have the ratio, pretty standard for any compressor, I'd say. Then we have the sensitivity. Well, in any other compressor, this would be called the threshold. Not sure why they went with the name sensitivity, but anyway, that is what this is. Then we have the makeup gain. The attack and release, again, very standard for any compressor. We have a mix knob, so you can mix the unprocessed signal with the processed signal. Then we have the output level, which apparently is separate from the makeup gain. Can be useful, I guess. And then down here to the left and right, it's pretty difficult to see. But anyway, this is the input level display, respectively the output level display. And finally, if you press up here, you will go to the preset page. As you can see, there are 10 factory presets, but you can also save your own presets. As you can see, I've saved one already, which I called Punchy 1. All right, so that is the interface. Okay, time for a little demonstration. Now, I would recommend listening to at least some decent monitor speakers or some good headphones, because it might be a little bit too subtle for something like this, for example. Okay, now what I have here is a little drum loop, so let's just take a listen. Okay, you get the idea. Now, what I will do is I will play that drum loop again. Somewhere along the way I will unbypass RoughRider so you can hear the difference. Okay, now what you should listen for is, first of all, the sound getting a little bit more punchy, so you know, a little bit more aggressive, and also listen to the filtering of RoughRider. It seems to do especially something to the higher frequencies. So if you listen to something like the hi-hat or the snare, you should hear it get muffled a little bit. All right, let's go. Okay, I hope you were able to hear that. Again, it got a little bit more punchy, and again also, you know, especially the higher frequencies seem to be affected. Okay, now just to bring home the point of the full bandwidth feature, I will play this loop again, and then I will switch on and off the full bandwidth feature, and you should hear the sound open up a little bit and get, you know, just get a lot clearer. Okay, let's go. Okay, again, I hope you were able to hear that. So as soon as I switched on the full bandwidth feature, I actually switched off the filtering, and immediately the sound opened up. It got a lot brighter and just it got a lot cleaner. So I'm gonna leave it at that as far as the demonstration goes. But what do I think of this plugin? Well, I think it's a very popular plugin, and I think it's so for a very good reason. Well, actually two very good reasons, because it's also absolutely free. But on top of that, it you know, it has a very likable sound. It really warms up the sound. I really like it. It is especially perfect for drum sounds and other rhythmic sounds you may have in your mix. It's always been that way with RoughRider. But now with that new feature, the full bandwidth, it actually opens the door for many other uses of this plugin. You know, so I always thought this was a great plugin, and now with the new features, it even got better. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this plugin. Go check it out. All right. So yeah, that's basically all from me for now. Thank you for watching.